Oh, I have no background music. Oh no. Okie dokie. I'm not entirely sure whether or not to leave. We are live once again on TikTok. So welcome, weary travellers. There are no viewers as of yet, so I'm gonna go and grab some music. I can't believe I forgot. Oh, this is too much. Come on. There we go. The one thing I forgot to prepare. Okie dokie. Oh, what a good start to this live. There we go. Let's start this again. Welcome, weary travellers, once again to another TikTok live. Rushing around. After that atrocious start, I'm just going to give a couple more minutes to allow for people to join here on TikTok. Now we'll get to this week's set of dice ready. Showing off my chainmail dice bag. And lovely pearly white set of dice there that I will no doubt need to use for demonstration purposes. Okay. Hoping that next week's live's it's not going to be as chaotic a start as this. Oh Lord. Anyway, just going to wait again another minute or so for people to show up, and then class will officially be in session. This week I have not got any monster. I do have tea in my pumpkin mug because it is nearly spooky season, and I do like my tea. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start. So last week our live was concerned with the barbarian, and this week we're going to go into the bard. A part of me, very immature part of me, wanted to go oi oi. So I think last session I said I'm just going to do one class per live. So I think if I added too many, I'd be here until midnight. I don't think anybody wants to hear me rattle on about D&D for that long. So the bard, like the barbarian, is known for their rage. The bard is known for their stereotypical desire to seduce anything and everything, any dragon, any monster, any NPC, they want to seduce them. That's not to say that if you want to play a bard, you have to seduce every NPC. That's completely up to you. But that's the stereotype of bards. There we go. So bards are masters of song and speech. They have high charisma, and in D&D, song and speech and words, they have a magic all of their own. People say that the universe was spoken into being, and the bards of today are just basically using the remnants of that primordial magic to weave into their spell casting. So they're riding the tailcoats. They're riding that to use in their own magic. So bards are typically they're typically on the sidelines when it comes to battle, when it comes to combat. They can be seen as a support class, where the barbarian from last week, they will be running headlong into combat. They will be right in the thick of it. They will be there soaking up the damage, making the big hits and so on. Bards will typically be on the sidelines, but that's not to say that you have to stay on the sidelines. They're very versatile, and they are able to, more than capable of protecting themselves and, getting their hands dirty and things like that. Their spells tend towards charms and illusion, but knowledge is typically wide-ranging, so they know a little bit about a lot of things. And like with the barbarian, not every singer in a tavern or minstrel performing for lords and ladies, or performing for kings and queens, they're not all going to be bards. So it might not be obvious to the common folk in the world of D&D what the difference is. So someone in a tavern could just be a fantastic singer, and the person singing to passers-by on the street, they may be the true bard. I've forgotten where I am. Yeah, so to become a true bard, it takes study. It does take natural ability, but you do need to learn how to play your instrument. You need to learn the knowledge of how to become a bard, how to weave the magic through your words, through your spells, through your words, through your magic and your storytelling and things like that. And because bards tend to spend a lot of time travelling, they don't spend a lot of time in one place too long typically. They travel, they like to gain more knowledge, they like to increase their musical repertoire. They will travel from place to place, finding new stories, learning new music, learning new songs, and then retelling those stories, re-singing those songs, replaying that music to other people in other places. So adventuring fits them quite nicely. So they can actually go and I don't know why my brain's gone today, but adventuring bards will basically be part of the stories that they will tell later on down the line. They will be with other adventurers, they will be with other heroes, and they will be able to say, this is a true story, I was there to see it happen, and they will be able to tell that story, weave it in with music and their own magic, and they will be able to continue on their adventuring story, as it were. So again, not the be all and end all. Like I said before, bards are stereotypically the apologies for that. Someone wants to co-host, and I don't. This isn't the live for that. I do apologise. Where was I? So yeah, stereotypically, bards are seen a little bit as the horny toads of the classes. They like to seduce anything and everything, but again, like I said, that's not the be-all and end-all. If you don't want to play a bard who is interested solely in romancing NPCs, you don't have to do that. But what is good to think about is, because bards it's integral to them to tell their stories, you can weave that into your backstory. So when you're creating your bard, do you think, how did they become a bard? Did they learn at a college? Did they study under a master? Were they a runaway? Did they come across their magic on the road? Did they stumble upon it? Did they make a pact with a supernatural creature? Or have they lived a life of luxury and they had access to the best tutors in the land? So it's completely up to you. And again, talk with your DM. It might be worth discussing with them whether or not they live in the world the DM has created, or if they come from somewhere far away. So suggestions for a quick build. So with the like with the Barbarian before, there's a lot of quick build suggestions, and I think this is more along the lines for people who've played for quite a while and they're doing a one shot and they think, you know what, I just want to build a quick bard, I'm not bothered about backstory, I just want to get my stats in order and then I'm ready to play the one shot. But as we're going further into the details of the bard, we can continue with that afterwards. But a quick build suggestion would be to have charisma as your highest ability score and your dexterity as your second highest. Take the entertainer background and choose the following cantrips: dancing lights, which you can create up to 4 torches and you can manipulate them at will, and vicious mockery. So you basically you injure enemies with your insults. You give them psychic damage and impose disadvantage on their next attack. Also to pick these first level spells: Charm Person, which basically means you can manipulate a person and get them to do what you want. Detect Magic, which is exactly what it does on the tin. You can detect forms of magic. Healing Word, you, again, does what it says on the tin. You heal for, minor wounds and things like that. And Thunder Wave, so for that one you will create a wave of thunder in front of you and force enemies backwards. Class features, so like with the Barbarian, you get a hit die for the Bard, and the hit die for the Bard is the D8. I'm not totally sure you can see that properly. So at first level, your Bard will have 8 plus your Constitution modifier. So if you had a Constitution of 14, you would have a +2, so that would be, you'd start off with 10 hit points. If you had a Constitution of 16, you'd have a +3 modifier, so you would start off with 11 hit points as a Bard. And after that, like I said with the Barbarian last week, you either roll for it or you will take the average, so that would be 5, and then again plus your Constitution modifier, and that's how you'd level up your hit points as Bard. Proficiencies. You get proficiency in light armor as a Bard, so that's padded armor and leather armor. Weapons wise, proficiency in simple weapons, hand crossbows, longsword, rapiers, and short swords. So not as many weapons as the Barbarian, but you don't you get more spells. It's more of a trade-off. Tools wise, you get to be proficient in 3 musical instruments of your choice rather. So anything from the lute to the harp, even maybe a piano. I mean, I know you wouldn't be able to take a piano with you on your adventuring as a Bard, but if there was a piano in a tavern, you might be able to play that for a performance in order to get a free bed for the night. When it comes to equipment, for a Bard, you get to choose a rapier, which is a thinner sword than a long sword. You could also choose a long sword or any simple weapon, so things like like a club or a mace, something like that. A diplomat's pack or an entertainer's pack. So a diplomat's pack has, I think it has tubes for, like casing for maps or scrolls, bottles of ink. I think there's a set of fine clothes in there. I think there's sealing wax and things like that, things for writing letters. And the entertainer's pack is similar to the explorer's pack described in the last live. It's got a bedroll, it's got some rations and a water skin, but they do have a disguise kit and some costumes as well. So say you were a travelling Bard, you'd be able to use a disguise kit and use a costume to enhance performances at taverns and things like that. So spellcasting for the Bard, you will know 2 cantrips of choice from the Bard spell list. Certain spells are only available to certain classes. So for example, Charm Person, as mentioned before, that can be used by the Bard, the Druid, I think, and maybe the Warlock, maybe a couple of others as well, but I know the Cleric isn't able to use that spell. So similarly, a spell that a Cleric is able to use, a Bard might not be able to use that. And you will also know 4 first level spells, but you would only have 2 spell slots at level 1. So you would know 4 spells, but you would only be able to cast 2 of them per long rest. Or you could cast the same spell twice, and then that would increase as you level up. So the way we play cantrips, or the way I've always thought of cantrips as, the cantrip is it's kind of ingrained into you, basically. So you can use a cantrip as many times as you want, over and over and over and over again. It doesn't expend any spell slots. So like dancing lights, or things like prestidigitation, or thaumaturgy, they can be used as many times as the caster wishes, because they've practiced it so many times, they know it off by heart. That's how we've always thought about it anyway. When you level up, you can change the spells that you know. You will have a list of spells which we'll go through later on in the player's handbook. But you can, when you level up, you can change the spells that you know, which will then alter the spells that you can cast when you level up. And charisma is your spell casting ability, so it is recommended, because a bard, music is part of their very heart and their very soul. It's recommended to have a high spellcasting, high charisma for the spellcasting modifier. If you had a low one, you'd have less chance of your spells working against your enemies. So for spell saves, things like Charm Person, the enemy would have a chance to throw off the spell effect, basically, and that number is 8 plus your proficiency as a bard and plus your charisma modifier. So at level 1 you would have a proficiency of a +2. So if you had a a charisma of 16, that would be +3. So 8 +2 +3 would be 13. The enemy would need to roll a 13, I believe it would be wisdom saving throw, to throw off the effects of Charm Person. That does stack, that does get higher as you level up, but if you had a charisma of, say, 12, you would only have a +1 modifier, so that spell save would be 11 rather than 13. So again, it helps to have a higher charisma when playing a bard. Similarly, for the spell attack, you get your proficiency plus your charisma modifier. So again, if you had a charisma of 16, that would be your proficiency of 2 + 3, so you get a +5 whenever you attack with an attack spell as a bard. Bards also get ritual casting, so like I said last live, the barbarian, depending on which track you go down for the barbarian, you can cast certain ritual spells, and ritual spells just take 10 minutes longer than a regular spell to cast. So if a spell takes an action to cast, which is 6 seconds, it would be 10 minutes and 6 seconds. If a spell takes a minute to cast, it would take 11 minutes to cast as a ritual spell. So for bards, any bard spell with a ritual tag you can cast as a ritual rather than expending a spell slot. So those 4 spells that you know at level 1, if one has the ritual tag, you can cast that, you can spend 10 minutes casting that rather than using a spell slot. It is recommended rather than doing that out of combat rather than in combat, because it's 6 seconds a round, and for 10 minutes that's going to take far too many rounds of combat. Bards can also use their instrument as a spellcasting focus, so that means not all material components, but some spells require things like a pinch of soot or a pinch of salt or twigs or certain berries, things like that. If you use your spellcasting focus, you are able to use your spellcasting focus rather than using the material components. Some material components you will need. For example, say it says, this spell requires 1,000 gold pieces worth of diamond dust or 150 gold pieces worth of gems. You would still need to use that material component, but if it only needs a pinch of salt and a twig, you don't need to use those material components when using your spellcasting focus. So another thing you get is your bardic inspiration. Something else that bards are like the barbarian. They have their rage. Bards have their inspiration. You are able to inspire your team and give them an inspiration die, which starts as a d6, and it lasts for 10 minutes. So it's quite good in combat or situations where you're doing a lot of ability checks in a short space of time. I wouldn't say give them bardic inspiration if you're just going to go and walk from one town to the next, because that's far more than 10 minutes. So once you roll the d20 for an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, you can then add this before the DM gives you the outcome. So say you needed a dexterity saving throw, you roll a 12 and you think that might not be enough, I'm going to roll my inspiration die, and then if you get lucky and get a 6, that total would then be 18, giving you a much better chance to succeed in that saving throw or the ability check or the attack roll. So again, like the barbarian's rage, you only get a certain amount of bardic inspiration to use per long rest, and it resets on a long rest. When you get to level 5, the inspiration die becomes a d8 rather than a d6. It becomes a d10 when you reach level 10, and becomes a d12 once you reach level 15, showing that as you level, your inspiration becomes that much more inspiring. You're able to help your team more once you level up. At level 2, bards get the Jack of all trades, so they get to add half their proficiency bonus to any ability check that they're not already proficient in. And again, it does, as it says on the tin, you get to be a little bit more knowledgeable in a lot of different things. So, Jack of all trades. Second level, you also get the Song of Rest. So, during a short rest, if your companions are using their hit die to gain some more health back, you can perform a Song of Rest. And soothing music aids and adds an extra d6. So say you're at level 2, you roll both of your hit die to gain more health points. You will also get a d6 to regain hit points. What are your thoughts on the change to how easily heroic inspiration is handed out in the 2024 Player's Handbook? I've not actually had a look at the 2024 Player's Handbook. That's something that I might do later on down the line, but this is just the 2014 Player's Handbook. So, I mean, like I've said, this live is for everyone, but I did want to do like a D&D 101 primarily just for people who have heard about D&D and they want to get into it or know a little bit more about it. But that is definitely something that I'm going to be looking at down the line. I think we're all going to be looking into the 2024 Player's Handbook and how all the classes differ. I definitely want to know how it changes our Curse of Strahd characters, because I think we've gone the furthest with those characters. So that is a good question, though. So thank you very much for asking it. Oh, so the Song of Rest. Yes, I meant to say it increases from a d6 to a d8 at level 9. A d10 at level 13, and a d12 at level 17. At level 3, you get to choose your Bardic College, which I will go through in a little bit more detail later on. So, what's the next? You also get Expertise at 3rd level. So you choose 2 skills that you're proficient in, and your proficiency is doubled. So, say you're proficient in performance, and you had a +3, your proficiency would double, so you would now have a +6 to your performance. Or it could be any skill. It could be persuasion, it could be survival, it could be deception, anything like that. And at 10th level, you can choose another 2 skills to gain this benefit as well. At 4th level, you get the ability score improvement. So at 4th, 12th, 16th and 19th level, you get to increase your ability scores. So again, that is, you get to choose, add 2 to 1 ability score of your choice, or add 1 to 2 ability scores of your choice. So for the bard, you might want to add 2 to your charisma, or you might want to add 1 to your charisma or 1 to your dexterity, things like that. Unfortunately, it is maxed at 20. So if you have a 20 in charisma, you can't add another 2 to it to get 22. There are specific times where you would be able to go further than that 20, but only if it states so in like feats, or like with the barbarian, once you get to level 20, you can have a max of 24 strength and constitution, but for the most part it is just a max of 20. 5th level, you get a font of inspiration, so your bardic inspiration resets on a short rest rather than a long one. 6th level, you get counter charm, so those within 30 feet of you during combat have advantage on saves against being charmed or being threatened. So again, advantage is rolling the d20 twice and taking the highest of the 2 numbers. So this is a turn-based thing. So once it gets to your next turn, it will run out and you can use the counter charm again. 10th level, you get access to magical secrets, so magical knowledge from a wide spectrum of different disciplines, and you get to choose 2 spells from different classes. Like I said before, Charm Person is available to bards, druids, I think I said warlock. I think there's a couple of other classes as well, but you could choose 2 spells from the wizard spell list or the warlock spell list, and it also must be a spell of a level that you can cast, so no 9th level power word kill, unfortunately, no 9th level wishes once you get to level 10, but like a 3rd level spell from the wizard spell list, you could choose that, or a 4th level spell, I think, from say the druid spell list, you could choose that as well. And when you reach level 20 as a bard, you get superior inspiration. So if you don't have any uses of inspiration left, once you roll initiative, you can gain another level, another use of inspiration back from that. Moving on to the bardic colleges, we have the College of Law and College of Valour. College of Law is L-O-R-E, not L-A-W. So for the College of Law, again, they know a little about a lot of things. They tend to come together and collect knowledge from a wide range of sources. They will come together, and you will give, as a bard in the College of Law, you will give your expertise, but then you would get knowledge and information on stories. You would learn new songs, new music from, say, another dozen bards. So again, you're gathering knowledge and stories, secrets, music from all over. Their loyalty doesn't lie with offering their fealty to kings and queens, or their loyalty doesn't lie with offering devotion to gods and goddesses. Their loyalty lies with truth and beauty, which they find out on the road whilst they're adventuring, whilst they are being a part of the stories that they wish to tell. So at 3rd level, bards from the College of Law will get 3 extra proficiencies, so you can choose 3 skills to become proficient in. And they gain access to cutting words, so as a reaction you can use your words to imbue your words with magic to confuse and distract opponents. So within 60 feet of a hostile enemy that's attacking, you can use your reaction to expend a bardic inspiration die and roll that and subtract what you roll on the dice from their attack roll. So if an enemy was attacking one of your companions, and your companion, for example, had an AC of 16, if the enemy rolled For example, they rolled a 17. If you rolled a 2 or higher on your cutting words inspiration die, you'd be able to stop them from attacking your companion. The hostile creature does need to be able to hear it. So if they are deaf or if they're immune to being charmed, the cutting words won't work, unfortunately. At level 6, you get additional magical secrets. So at level 10, you gain access to magical secrets. But if you are part of the College of Law, you will gain another 2 spells of your choice from any other class. And level 14, you gain the Peerless skill feature. So you can use Bardic Inspiration to add the outcome of the die to an ability check. So at level 14, I think that would be either a D8 or a D10. So you roll for an ability check, roll a Bardic Inspiration, and you get to add that to the total, but you would have to make sure that the DM is before the DM says the outcome. You can't have the DM says it doesn't work, then use it, unfortunately. The next is College of Valor. So these bards are daring, I'm going to butcher this word, Scalds? I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. But they tend to journey far and wide. All bards tend to travel, but they travel with heroes. They collect stories and feats of daring do, basically, and rather than gathering in libraries and colleges to swap knowledge and stories like those bards in the College of Law, you will find them you'd find them in mead halls, surrounded by roaring campfires. This is where they'll drink and they'll tell their stories, they'll sing their songs of deeds from heroes who are dead, heroes who are alive, heroes past and present. At 3rd level for the College of Valor, you get proficiency with medium armour, shields and martial weapons. So you don't get the proficiency in 3 more skills, but you do get proficiency in shields, armour and weapons. You also get combat inspiration. So inspiration generally is added to ability checks, attack rolls and saving throws, but combat inspiration, you can also add that to damage. So if you give a companion combat inspiration, they can attack an enemy. If they make that attack, they can add a d6 to their damage. So if they're rolling full damage, you can add an extra d6. That's just more damage to take out your enemies. At 6th level, you get an extra attack. So again, it's pretty self-explanatory. You get to attack twice rather than just once. And at level 14, you get battle magic. So this means that you have mastered the art of weaponry and magic, and you can use them in tandem, you can fuse them together. So when you use your action to cast a bardic spell, you can use your bonus action to make a weapon attack. And then as you have your 2 attacks from 6th level, you can then make another attack. So in your action, you would be able to attack twice with a weapon attack, and also casting a spell. And that is actually it for the Bard in the 2014 Player's Handbook. I was going through this and I thought, really? That doesn't seem like a lot, but there was a lot of information there. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, please feel free. As with the Barbarian, I'm going to go through the... Hopefully you can see that there. So it's kind of like a table of, like an overview of the Bard, which I will go through there now. What's everyone's favourite class to play? That's a very good question. So whilst I am reading this out, everyone can discuss their favourite class to play, as well as a class they would like to play. I do love to play a rogue. Those sneaky rogues. I think my favourite class would probably be a druid. Yeah, probably a druid. I've played Thea until level 7 so far, and I can't wait until she gets to level 8 so she can fly. But anyway, I will go through the bards. So with the bard you get your proficiency bonus, the features like the bardic inspiration, you get cantrips known, spells known, and the known spells, the spell slots that you can use as well. Always wanted to play a rogue. My usual go-tos are paladins and bards. A fellow bard. Do you actually know how to play instruments in real life? I wish I could play an instrument, but I'm just far too clumsy. I'm useless. Okie doke. So at first level for a bard, you get a +2 to proficiency. You get your spell casting and your bardic inspiration, which is a d6. You know 2 cantrips, 4 spells total, and you have 2 first level spell slots. Second level, you get the Jack of all trades and the Song of Rest. You know an extra spell, so that's 5 total, and you have 3 first level spell slots. At third level, you get to pick your Bard College, so that's the College of Law or the College of Valour. You also get your expertise. You know an extra spell, so that's 6 total. You get 4 first level spell slots and 2 second level spell slots. Fourth level, you get your ability score improvements. You know an extra cantrip, so that's 3 in total. You have a total of 7 spells known, 4 first level and 3 second level. Fifth level, your proficiency bonus increases to 3. You get an increase in the bardic inspiration, so that's a d8 rather than a d6. So your first bardic inspiration die is d6, and then it increases at level 5 to a d8. Spells known in total are 8, 4 first level, 3 second level, and 2 third level spells. I always love leveling up and finding that I get to know I've got my third level spell slots. Level 6, you get the Counter Charm and a Bardic College feature. Total number of spells known are 9, 4 first, 3 second, and 3 third level spells. 7th level, you know another spell. You get 4 first, 3 second, 3 third, and 1 fourth level spell. Level 8, you get your ability score improvement. You know another spell for a total of 11. I'm tripping over my tongue there. 4 first level spells, 3 second and third level spells, and 2 fourth level spells. 9th level, you get an increase to your proficiency bonus for a total of 4. You get your Song of Rest, so an increase to a d8. You know a total of 12 spells, 4 first level, 3 second, third, and fourth level, and 1 fifth level spell. Level 10, you get your Bardic Inspiration increased to a d10. You get your expertise and your magical secrets. You know a total of 14 spells, 4 first, 3 second, third, and fourth level spells, and 2 fifth level spells. So again, with that magical secrets, you can know up to a 5th level spell of any other class. So again, no power word kill, no 9th level wish, unfortunately. Level 11, you know a total of 15 spells, and you gain a 6th level spell slot. Level 12, the ability score improvement again, and the spell slots remain the same. 13th level, your proficiency will increase to 5, and you get the Song of Rest increased to a d10 rather than a d8. You know a total of 16 spells, and you get a 7th level spell slot. Level 14, you get your magical secrets and your Bardic College feature. You know a total of 18 spells rather than 16. 15th level, you get your Bardic Inspiration increased to a d12 rather than just a d8. So again, when you level up, you become that much more inspiring. Level 16, again, ability score improvement, and you get an 8th level spell slot. level, where was I? I can't remember if I said 16 or 17 then. Let's go with 17. Level 17, your proficiency increases to 6. You get a D12 for your Song of Rest. 20 spells total, and you get your first 9th level spell slot. And level 18, you get further magical secrets. 22 spells total. Level 19, ability score improvement, and level 20, you get your superior inspiration. So the level of cantrips increases, your spells increase, and the number of spell slots you use get to increase as well. I think I've not been paying attention to the chat. I think rogues are a great all-rounder, can have great charisma and great sneak damage and stealth. I would like to play a rogue myself as well, just for the sneak attack damage. I think it'd be amazing just to watch the poor DM as I roll all these dice. Absolutely cannot play any instruments. Well, you and me both. I've always wanted to play a bard. After this live, I think I'm prepared now. Well, I'm very, very glad. I always like to hear that my ramblings are helpful to someone. Try playing a College of Eloquence. You're almost guaranteed to talk your way out of any trouble. I feel like my younger brothers just are able to just do that anyway. That sounds perfect for my next character. I mean, I think that's you in real life. Come on. What rogue subclasses do you play? What rogue subclasses do you play? I always like the idea of assassin, but I find it a bit situational. I think I've played a rogue a little bit. I wasn't sure about the subclass. I think we've got to the level in that campaign where we pick our subclasses, but we haven't been able to actually explore them, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that live was the Bard. The Bard in a nutshell from the 2014 Player's Handbook. And next week we will be going through the Cleric, and I think that one's going to be a little bit more in depth because there are the different domains for the Cleric. But yes, like I said, I'm glad that my notes on the Bard and this live has helped you become more prepared. And like I said in one of my other sessions, I think once I've gone through the entire Player's Handbook, I might do a live, see if we can get a guest or two on maybe, and we might actually roll a character with all the knowledge that I will have imparted to you, dear watchers. And yeah, I might roll a character and see what we come up with. Might be good for a one shot. Might see if I can put them into a campaign or make them an NPC. We shall see. But I think I'm going to leave this live here for today. So big thank you to everyone who has watched, who has liked, who has interacted. It really does mean a lot. So we are going to be live next Friday, which is I think the 4th of October, 7 p.m. BST again, and we will be going into more detail, learning a little bit more about the Cleric. So I'm going to end this live here. I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I will see you next week. I use my unused characters as NPCs in Adventure Guild just so I can use them. I think I have got so many character ideas that I think, yeah, we might just have to make a guild to put all of our characters in, just so I get to use them a little bit. But yeah, again, big thank you to everyone who has watched and interacted, and I will see you next live next week.